The Orphaned Artist and the Mermaid's Eyes. Last scene. A story by Mark David. Mark stepped into the boat, and it sailed him down the river to the sea again. He came face to face with his painting, which was still in the same place on his easel, waiting for him. It was an amazing painting that showed a woman sitting on the white rock with her green dress and looking at him with her beautiful smile. However, she was not a mermaid as he thought. The painting portrayed the same colors as his dad's last painting. Green, purple and a hint of blue were the main colors. The orphan could see it clearly now. He had always thought that painting was for the mermaid. But, instead, it was for his mum. Seeing the white rock had led him back to his childhood, when he and his mum had been the subjects of his dad's last painting. His passion for that missing moment had led him to paint his mum with her green dress holding a blue handkerchief in one of her hands. Mark saw himself as the blue handkerchief in his painting. It was a fantastic moment that had lived in his inner feelings forever. He remembered when he had stared into his mum's green eyes. They had reflected green, purple and a hint of blue. And just before he had fallen asleep peacefully between her arms, he had asked her what colors she liked. She was the one who had told him that she liked green, purple and a hint of blue. He had eagerly wanted to let her know that he saw the same colors in her eyes, but unfortunately, the boy fell asleep before he did. All he needed was a little motivation to bring him to that childhood memory, and the trigger was the white rock. She was not a mermaid as I thought. It was my mum's painting. I painted my mum. He realized that the colors, green, purple and a hint of blue, weren't enough to harmonize the colors of her eyes because her eyes were reflecting the inner him. The beauty of her eyes would never reach perfection without me, he said to himself. Mark felt that he could not live without living in those moments. My soul would be the life in my mum's eyes, shown through the vivid colors. The painting was missing me. I cannot bear to live anymore. I must go, my world should be that moment, and I must be united with it. Mark began to cry as he thought of his mum and dad. Mark stood without movement and with a broken heart, turning his eyes towards the sea. But, as usual, the sea was calm, its waves moving on the beach peacefully, carrying with it the white sand from the sea bottom to spread on the beach. As Mark walked towards the sea, he bent to touch its waves. The waves were like a tiny kitten that loved to be pampered by the hands of its owner. After long while staring into the sea, Mark said, "My body's dust would embrace your waves on the shore and would always welcome them. And my body would unite with your blue color in the real world and eternally." Then he stood and walked to his painting, which was still on his easel. He looked at it, and at once, his eyes filled with tears. Then he ran toward the sea, crying, holding the tubes of the green, purple, and blue paint while his body slowly moved further into the sea. "I implore you, with my last wish, to blend my soul with those colors and put it in her eyes. I cannot live without being with it." Mark smiled as he said his last words. "I would be part of it forever." The sea gave his consent. Its water covered the artist and drew him down to the seabed, doing as it promised. So, the artist went from reality to live in his dream forever, the artist and his painting becoming one.